That's White Owl Valley to our left. These valleys used to be very populated and cultivated. They used to grow a lot of taro back there, which is a root vegetable that they make poi from, which I think is pretty tasty, but most people aren't too fond of it. It's not uncommon to see a bumper sticker around town that says poi happens. That's how most people feel about it. Anyway, it's quite nutritious. It's about 18% protein, very high in vitamins A, C, B6, B12, and iron. And you can eat the leaves, the stems, and the roots. You just have to cook it all really well first because it's laden with calcium oxalate, which is a toxin that'll ruin your day if you don't. Such miracles, I am a miracle made up of particles, and in this existence I'll stay persistent and I'll make a difference, and I will have lived it. Aloha, aloha, keakua, keakua. This next valley is Pelekunu Valley. And these cliffs to our left are about 3,200 feet, over by Kalapapa about 4,000 feet, making those the highest sea cliffs in the world, but not quite straight enough to base jump off. This is a frigate bird. They don't like giving up their airspace very much. Watch out. Once you see one, there's probably another one around. How's everybody doing with the turns? Everybody feel okay with the turns? All good? Cool. I will praise each day that I wake. I give thanks each day. As we go back into the valley, we may feel a few little speed bumps here and there, no big deal. It's kind of like whitewater rafting in a helicopter. Each day that I wake. I give thanks, And the day that I don't wake up and transcend holy makeup, I am capable, I am powerful. The day that I don't wake up and transcend holy makeup, I am on my way to a different place. Now this mountain ahead of us here that's between these two valleys has one of the most intact and pristine sections of native Hawaiian forest left in Hawaii on it. And that's because it's surrounded by all this steep terrain that keeps the animals out. The one problem this area still faces is the encroachment of non-native plant species like the strawberry guavas and others. And it's the introduction of all these non-native species that's been sort of the plight of the Hawaiian Islands. These islands are the most remote islands on the planet, and the plants and animals that evolved here evolved in isolation over time. And it's thought that about once every 20,000 years a plant would make landfall here. It would take about another 150,000 years to establish a viable population. And then over time, those species would become new species altogether. When Western colonists first arrived here, there were about 1,300 endemic plant species found nowhere else on Earth. Today we're down to about 600. So the Hawaiian Islands have the unfortunate distinction of having one of the highest rates of extinction of plants and animals on the planet. In fact, 90% of the bird species here went extinct with the introduction of mosquitoes. And mosquitoes were introduced through the malicious act of a British naval captain who was having a problem with one of the local chiefs in Oahu. He thought it would be an irritant to that chief to have mosquitoes in his neighborhood, so he released his contaminated water supplies from his ship into the streams in that chief's territory. Those mosquitoes multiplied rather quickly and spread throughout the Hawaiian Islands. Had they only been an irritant to the humans, that would have been bad enough. But unfortunately, they also carried avian malaria, which wiped out 90% of the bird species. That in turn had a cascade effect through the ecosystem, because those birds were the seed distributors and the pollinators. So when they went extinct, the plants that relied on them for those functions also diminished in number or went extinct. So our challenge today is to preserve the 10% of the bird species we have left and the 10% of the forests we have left. And how we became so informed, bodies of info, performing such miracles. I am a miracle made up of particles. Some pretty awesome territory back here. I'll stay persistent and I'll make a little different than Dallas. So did you guys get any hail with all that? Or was it just thunderstorms or what?
It actually started right after we left.
Okay. Your house is all secure though?
Hope so.
Oia paha kailuna o vai puhi ai puhi a ela e ke ki o wa mo kukali o ka ahi vai ho ita na na vai ne ho o ke vai o ka hau ko mo ta tere vai o ka vai na vai.
Now on the reef system ahead of us here you can see these encircled areas. Some of those walls are above the surface, some are below the surface. Those are the walls to old Hawaiian fish ponds. And the Hawaiians had a very extensive system of aquaculture there where they raised 6 different species of fish in freshwater, brackish water, and saltwater. That's a lot of what contributed to their food security that we don't have today.
Kuhoa o ka maluki, ka malukukui, o ka malukukui o ka hoi vai. He vai vai nui no te aloha, o ia ta umea e marama nei. O ha ule au ane I pao a ke kue. Hei noa no ke ari I pauahi hei noa no pauahi.
Ahead and to our right we can see the island of Lanai. Lanai is a privately owned island. It used to be owned by the Dole family of Dole Pineapples. It was then bought by David Murdoch, who owned it until about 4 years ago, and it was bought by Larry Ellison, the CEO of Oracle Software, and he bought it for $600 million, which sounds like a lot of money, but I guess when you have $52 billion, it's not that much. So for Larry to buy an island like that, it's kind of like me going out for a Starbucks. It's not a big dent in his pocket. He's going to do some cool stuff though. He's building a 500-acre research university, a desalinization plant, a film studio, a LEED certified sustainable energy hotel, putting in some organic orchards and farms, and all future development there will have to be done along certain sustainability guidelines, so that's kind of cool.
Sudosi budosi naranjanasi samsara maya pariyajitesi samsara svavanam chajamohad nidram najanma mrityor trisatsvarupi. Sudosi budosi naranjanasi samsara maya pariyajitesi samsara svavanam chajamohad nidram najanma mrityor trisatsvarupi. Sudosi budosi naranjanasi samsara maya pariyajitesi.
This area between the islands is a whale sanctuary, and every year between December and April there are about 10,000 humpback whales that reside in the Hawaiian waters during the wintertime. That's half of the North Pacific population. There are three main groups of whales in Alaska that converge here in Hawaii to come here to give birth to their calves. And when those calves are born, they're about 6 feet long and can drink up to 100 gallons of milk a day. Pretty thirsty little guys. And if their moms take good care of them and keep the sharks and the orcas and the whalers off them on their way back up to Alaska, they'll get up there and eat a bunch of krill, and one day they'll grow up to be about 45 feet long like their moms and dads. And they'll learn to speak their moms and dads' language, which is very complex. By analyzing their language with computers, we can see that they have a lot of repeating sequences, or what we would otherwise consider rhymes. That's why we refer to the oration